Now that's a party. Welcome everybody, Josh RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at Forest River today on a beautiful sunny day, which I think is going to be one of the times you're going to love a trailer like this. But what's awesome, this thing rocks if the weather's great, and this thing rocks if the weather sucks. This is the new 290RLDS, make you say yes, kind of Surveyor here. What they did, they gave you opposing living room floor flush super slides with something that has an extra tall ceiling and a lot of campside window coverage, which is awesome. But one of those windows is what I lovingly refer to as a taco truck window, where you can just pass stuff straight outside to what they're calling the Trailgater, which I'm furious I did not make that name first, because that feels and sounds like a nerdism. I have to give them all the credit in the world. I wish I had that trademarked. It's like when somebody else invented the iPod first, I was like, son of a gun, that could have been me. But moving on from there, this thing has a new improved air system where we have dual standard air, ability for a third air if you want to be breathing icicles, heated enclosed underbelly with holding tank heat pads for some really solid extended season campability on here, the power stabilizers, and a bunch of other things. Now, this is a member of the Grand Surveyor series, which is the upper member of the family. There's a couple major changes like the nose cap, the power stabs, a few other little odds and ends. But overall, it seems like a pretty solid model. Now, they've also enhanced the bedroom, giving it a new Olympic queen. That seems to be something that more and more is catching on. I'm personally here for it. They've maintained the awesome headboard power pockets, but this year up in that closet, not only do you have a huge extra closet that you can win the hide and seek championship in, it also is prepped and ready for up to a stackable washer dryer. They're still advertising a limited time 400-watt solar package, which has now been available for a limited time of 15 months, I think. But hey, 400 watts of solar, and maybe one day it'll go away. Maybe it will not. I don't know, but it's here for now. Cool model, new model, a little tweak on some other things. It's very similar, I feel like, to a 2800 vibe, but not identical. And I think they each have their own place. I'd be really curious to know what you think about her.
And it's kind of funny how you'll see a bunch of different brands all at the same time adopt some similar things. And I feel like that's sort of happening with some of this floor plan conceptualization right here. To be fair, some of these brands are kind of extended members of the same sort of family, so they might be comparing notes on what they've found success with. But like, this does not go with a traditional dining arrangement. It has a little bit of RV nerdism, rather, number 37, the Dynalind, if you will. And I'm okay with it. I kind of like it. We aren't the type of people who just tend to sit at a dinette table to eat a lot. We sort of hang out, we stand in the kitchen, we pick, we set food out, we graze, we kind of go about it that way. But that doesn't mean that's the right way. It just means that's our way. What they did over here, though, where you would normally have a traditional dinette, they gave it a little bit of this sort of campside overlook couples dining bar. So this is an RV that is made for like hanging out, entertaining, having guests, but primarily occupied by a couple people, obviously. Now, that could be a little bit of a laptop warrior station. It's easy to miss, but you do have some power outlets kind of tucked under there. I wish, if I was going to be ultra picky about this, they would have done something to make those outlets just a little more, readily accessible, but I can make it work. I don't think it's intended as a primary desk space, so giving them a little bit of leeway on that. You might notice how you do have blackout roller shades. I want to say, for whatever reason, the camera is really reading everything as very yellow, which is not how this looks in person. I think it's because of all the natural ambient lighting we have flooding through the windows versus the interior lighting here is just really mucking with things. But a nice big open spacious living room. You saw in our flyby footage that is it feels like an extra long sleeper sofa. I don't think it is necessarily longer, but it looked like it really extended into the room more. So might be some interesting opportunities there. They're also very good about breeze windows all the way around. And notice how they've kind of framed out the windows there. I think it's just a nice little visual aesthetic kind of item. Aw, look at that. They got the little heart hands decoration over there. It's so cute, little heart hands. Now they've changed the air system on these. I believe this is more specific to kind of some of the Grand Surveyor stuff. But what you're looking at here, that's an 18,000 BTU Furrion chill cube. It is not a centrally ducted air conditioner. It is a big, more powerful, shockingly quiet and energy efficient air conditioner And it maintains max efficiency by dumping all the cold air right here straight into the living room. We're going to talk more about the air in just a second, pardon me. So direct view, I think 40-inch, 50-inch smart TV there, electric space heat and fireplace. And if you look, it's a carpetless floor flush slide, but you see there's a little bit of shadowing on there. That is literally the reason so many manufacturers tried to keep carpeting on their slides for the longest time. Floor flush slides are not truly floor flush. They always slightly rest above the main floor level. And the old carpeting used to mask exactly what we're seeing. And now that it's gone, people go, there's something wrong with the floor. There's nothing wrong with the floor. It's just it's a flap. It's a linoleum flap. Okay, so back to the air conditioner. Your main cabin that we are in gets the benefit 100% of that bigger, more powerful air conditioner. Now, up in the bedroom and bathroom, there's a standard second air conditioner that is mini ducted only between the bedroom and bathroom. So you have true dual zone cooling with higher efficiency ratings. If that's not enough for you, the RV is now prepped and ready for a third air conditioner. So keep that in mind as well. Especially handy if you're in those, Texas, Arizona, or like Georgia, Alabama, mega humidity states. That could be very, very helpful. Now, I don't mind the dining island, dine-in kind of setups. But what I've found is different people have wildly different opinions on what chairs feel best to them. The thing here is I noticed if you are a little thicker in the thighs, the steel structure holding everything looks like it would kind of rip your legs up a little bit. If you're not, it shouldn't be a problem. I would fit fine on it, but I know some people wouldn't. The other thing here that I kind of thought about is these chairs, if everybody is sitting here, you've really kind of blocked off the middle of the RV. So if I happen to get a trailer like this, what I would personally do is I would probably swap these chairs out for like some small folding stools that I could keep tucked away and bust them out when I wanted. And I think that would help the opening and flow. But look at this. That tubular support system, they added just some USB plugs and obviously Dad's medicine cabinet bottle pop opener right over there. The kitchen, let's take a look over here. So overall, not too terrible storage. This is very much an open kind of living space focused sort of floor plan, so it doesn't have the greatest quantity of kitchen cabinetry and space I've seen, but I think it's sufficient. I don't feel like it was lacking by any stretch. There is an extra cabinet over there, but it kept wanting to close itself. Over here, by the way, it's a little bit of a larger oven, which I think is kind of cool, with a tiny little pocket of space down, but lots of drawers in here. I don't think there's a lot of RVs that are very large that just don't have good drawer space. So I'm kind of glad to see that this is not one of those with that sort of deficiency. There was some motion lighting inside that thing right there. One of the other little doodads that I really like here, and I'm shocked has not been copied by more RV brands, is what they've sort of done with like the stove backsplash and sink cover. You may have noticed they've magically changed positions here. The backsplash behind the stovetop is a cutting board, is a sink cover, does a couple things all in one. And whenever manufacturers do that, I always like to give them credit because that's really what you need to do with an RV. You need to make one thing do multiple things. Now, it's easy to miss, but down here, you see where the little foot sticker is. That's a central vacuum system. But you don't necessarily need to get out the whole pool cleaner kit. The thing at the very bottom at the floor, the base of the cabinets, I call that the electric dustpan. I know that I have silly words for everything, but that's really in my head what it is, because you flick it on and it just sucks everything right up. You just sweep it right into it like a dustpan. You're done. I also found on the side of the Dynaland, there was just an extra pocket, and they didn't waste it. So, I don't know what I'd put in there, but I would probably. What I've learned is that if there's space in an RV, you're going to find something to put into it. Also, just to kind of showcase the drawer space here. It's such a little thing, but I appreciate that both of the sofas have cup holders in the armrest. It's just such a dumb little thing. But I'm a klutzy person who knocks stuff down. And like at my house, I don't go camping with our cat, but in my house, cat will knock stuff down. So a dedicated recessed cup holder is handy. By the way, this is a taller ceiling. These are, I think, 6'9" floor to ceiling clearance, which is kind of handy. Additionally, I'm eyeballing it right now. When the slide's closed for road mode, you're going to not be able to get back here into the kitchen space. Actually, as long as we're standing here, let's just go ahead and demo that. Which you see right here. Now, if you wanted to Dukes of Hazzard yeehaw, you could. I did not close that other kitchen slide. So keep in mind, when you close that slide, the refrigerator is going to basically come right up next to what I call that Dynolin thing. I'm going to give them credit for something, though. They put the fuse controls right down here where they are easier to reach. So if you do happen to pop a fuse on one of these rack and pinion slide systems, you don't have to manually crank it just to change the fuse out. And hopefully little stuff like that is helpful for you. I know it seems like only a few seconds or a minute or something on camera. There's a lot of extra time that goes into doing all the storage and the travel access footage that I do. But I know that if I was going to buy something like this, I'd want to see it all, you know. They've done a really good job of being very conscious of keeping the vents out of the floor, the heat vent. You see it coming out of the base of the shower. Also, that porcelain foot flush stool has very respectable space around it. Perhaps a person who is large in stature may struggle with that a little bit. Generally speaking, I think it's going to be pretty functional for most everybody. Similarly, with the taller ceiling, the headroom in the shower of this thing is pretty darn great. I'm probably representing 6'2" on camera with the shoes that I'm wearing, and I also commend them. They started doing this, I think, last year, going to the larger vent fans factory standard. It still blows me away how many quote-unquote luxury fifth wheels can't find a way to give us better airflow in a bathroom space where you probably really want it. Now, this oval track with the backlighting mirror looks awesome, but we don't have a lot of like dedicated traditional medicine cabinet space. You might notice you've got the wire racks on the wall. They didn't forget that you need a place for your Lipitor and your Zoloft, but they didn't necessarily give you a big traditional cabinet space for it. They have, though, found ways to do all the sliding pocket doors they can and essentially zero swinging doors in here. Like you have a true in-wall pocket door here. For the closet, which is what's actually behind that wall, the same thing. This one is actually a surface sliding door to the bedroom, but let's start dissecting this. Remember, once again, second air up here shared between the bedroom bathroom standard with the optional third air back in the living area. And it looks and feels huge in here because of the taller ceiling and the lighter colors. And the windshield does also kind of give it a big feel, which is nice because the bed got bigger and bossier. This used to be a 60 by 80 queen. It's now a 66 by 80 Olympic queen. And their storage solutions in their bedroom are really good, at least in my opinion. Like there's a big under the bed chest area, but they give you quadruple dresser drawers right down here where it's easy to reach. But it's still big and deep. So if you have large stuff that you get to now and then, easy, you know, to have a space for that. Also, they added that motion lighting down in there so that you can actually see what you're doing. It's just the thoughtful little details that I like. And they, again, just very thoughtful on everything, like having the double dresser drawer situation on these sides. So you've got the socks and underwear drawer, and then like the big stuff drawers down below, your hanging space on the sides, your up here, they added the struts on the doors with the hidden hinges, and it's deceptively big and deep. So like if you have extra blankets for your hide bed or something, it gives you a good spot for it. Also, both sides of the bed have these, it's actually 3-tier sideboard power pockets. Like right down there, it's actually another dedicated cup holder, which I think is cool. But there's also some household and USB outlets back there on both sides of the bed so you can charge your stuff up and see what you're doing. One of the tricks, though, with them having sliding doors all over the place in here is that when you have a sliding door across from the bed, it makes it very difficult to have a TV hookup straight across from the bed. So your TV hookup is located over here, which looks and feels a little bit weird. But you might notice that is also a big closet over there. And I mean a big, well, I guess not closet in a way, because it doesn't necessarily have hanging clothing storage, which in a way kind of feels like a little bit of a miss to me. I'm sure I could figure out a way to sort of make that happen. But you might notice those shelves are removable. And we have hookups here for either a combo or stackable washer dryer in this thing. All right, now with very few exceptions, I'm personally not going to recommend a lot of half-ton towing with this, which is
frustrating because that's the most common vehicle out there, and I'm sure we could sell more of these and make more money if I did, but I look at this thing and it's approaching 37 foot long tip to tail, and by the time you look at the full GVW, it just feels a little bit more than what most half tons want to handle. Now, if you have a seasonal campsite just across town, you got a pretty capable half ton, I'm sure you'll be fine. But you want to go across the country and through mountains, I don't think you nor the truck are going to enjoy the experience whatsoever. This is an Asdel using brand that exists just below the fiberglass layering, heavy use of aluminum welded cage structure additionally. That's a 60,000 BTU tankless on-demand water heater, and this is a single sewer outlet kind of camper. It is not a poop hydra. That's where you have multiple sewer hookups all on one RV. The thing though is like it's lots of living space in the middle, but it is a party out here. Like there's obviously tons of stuff in this front pass-through compartment because that's where they're keeping all sorts of things, you know. But hey, it gives you an idea of the cargo you can throw in here. We have ourselves the little outdoor griddle station with the little galvanized rolled steel side table. But then we have the Trailgater, which again, I'm so furious that I had not thought of that name previously. That is just an awesome name, but it's an awesome concept. Now, the first time I kind of saw something like this, giving credit where it's due, was the Coachman Apex 242 Bar V. And this is in a very similar vein, certainly. But I don't care who did it first. I care that they're just doing it because I think this is really neat. Now, obviously, you can leave that top window shut if you don't want a full indoor-outdoor. And yes, there is a shade that you can pull right there as well. So it doesn't have to be flat open air. But just the whole aesthetic, the effort that they put into this, the backlighting, it just looks really cool. And I'm glad they put a couple things in here to kind of give you a size reference, but you got a bottle opener, you got some USB plugs out here, got a little spot where apparently you can, I don't know, play some solitaire, something like that. You know, a couple different odds and ends. It's fun. I could see this being very, very fun. And remember, with the dual power awnings, you can have that completely covered by an awning. Now down here, you have the Goodyear Endurance radials with tire pressure monitoring. This whole RV, by the way, does not ride on your traditional Lippert I-beam frame chassis. This is a Norco huck-bolted frame, which is something a little bit different. It's a kind of like an aircraft style chassis. I'm not saying it's a airplane chassis, but it's in a similar concept and vein. Now, when you're in a Grand Surveyor, obviously you have that nose cap, which makes it very easy to recognize, versus the Surveyor Legend, which doesn't. But you also pick up standard power stabilizers, which is another thing. Now, you've got 400 watts of solar up on the roof. I believe prep, I think, for a 2,000 watt inverter. I might be mixing this up with Ibex because they're all in the same kind of family. And you can see that we are ladder prepped, although the ladder is not necessarily included. You also do have back here both a bumper and a receiver hitch and a hot-cold outside utility shower for just doing a little bit of quick cleanup. And speaking of which, it looks like somebody was attempting to play a game of 52 pickup. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I'll drop you a link in the video description where you can see where we have one of these parked and what they're generally running. Also, if I've done some videos on some other similar things, which I kind of have, you'll be able to check those out right there. So whether you call it the Trailgater, the Bar V, the whatever you want to call it, I think this concept is really fun. It's really cool. And it feels like it's remembering that this is, camping's about connecting with people, and it just gives you a cool opportunity to do that. And if nothing else, you're probably going to turn some heads when you set this thing up at your campsite, which, I don't know, maybe it's braggadocious. It always does feel kind of cool, though. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.